So we did look at 151 last week. I kind of want to look at Prismatic this week because it has been just over a year. Like, I think it was January 2025 when it first came out. So we really now have got a whole year worth of data for Prismatic. Now, if you've been under a rock, you know Prismatic as the catalyst for all this. Surgeon Sparks was phenomenal. The Pikachu was exceptional. But Prismatic is where all hell broke loose. It's just absolutely nuts. The pricing in itself is just crazy. Like, you look at a Pokemon Center ETB, 585. You would buy that, what, 60, 70 quid on the normal day? So you're looking at, what, 530 pounds, and you're translating that you're basically gaining an extra 500 pounds in value from a year. Like, the X value of that is nuts. You've got the poster collection times 6, but you've got the binder collection, you've got the booster bundle at 74.50 on I'm going to go off market price there. 74.50, which, we'll say about 65, 70 pounds, normally is a 25 pound item that maybe, yes, you can't get unlimited amounts, so I'm not saying that you could go ahead and just go buy them from your shop constantly, but regardless, it is just crazy to see where the level of stuff have gone with this. Even just these little tech stickers, 3 packs in them, 32 each. It's just nuts. The pack itself is at 11, which, to be fair, is not necessarily the worst. We've definitely, you go a bit more vintage and you'll see packs way over the 20 mark, but this is a year old, and that's the kind of the be all and end all for it. Now, the big thing is the fact that obviously it is only a year old and it is a special set, so it's very specific with what you get. I thought right out the gate, especially with the pull rates from it, it was definitely worth, at the minimum, just going for the singles, waiting for them to drop and get the singles out of it. We did get the Prismatic Evolutions Premium Collection. To be honest, I didn't see on the shelf once. I didn't manage to go get any. You can kind of see it was all the way up at 450, dropped down to 195. Again, still very expensive, over £100 more than what it would truly come in at, and now we're at 386 with it. So it is definitely more expensive than kind of what we go with. Now, in terms of the set itself, obviously you've got value. So we'll start a little bit lower and we'll kind of work our way up, because this set in itself doesn't have any illustration rares. It has special illustration rares. It has Pokeballs, Master Balls, EXs that are still, like even Umbreon at 472 for an EX is expensive to some extent. Like, I mean, it's not crazy, but you kind of know what I mean. Like, you're looking, normally these are like 50p each, give or take, whereas they are holding slight value. The Master Balls, I think now, when you do look at them in the past, like obviously there'll be a fluctuation slightly, but we was looking at $6 to $10 per one. Now, when there's, what, say 100, maybe like 90 Pokemon in each, that becomes quite a lot. Like, if you think 10 times 90, you can kind of do the maths on that. Now we're obviously in the dollar mark, the $2 mark, much easier to get them. Now, obviously, there is still going to be expensive ones. You look at your Evolutions, they're not going to be in that dollar mark. And they're still looking at, obviously, Pokeballs as well. But the Master Balls, in their own part, are definitely down on some of the occasion. To be fair, even the Umbreon Pokeball is down. That, I swear that, like, it weren't nuts, like, don't get me wrong, but I swear it was up, yeah, I was going to say, for a Pokeball at 7, but the Master Ball was where it was at for the Umbreon. That was the crazy one, so I'll be very interested to see where that goes. And even looking at the gold cards now, like, most of the SARs, gold's maybe not included with this, but they were up at a certain value, and to be honest, it might have been prior to this, kind of like your February time before they really started to drop down. We'll obviously see on the SARs, but the definite kind of way for me in terms of Prismatic, if it is worth it, is I'd start at the bottom. If you're trying to do a master set or not, absolutely, like there's bound to be kind of ways to go about it. I would be looking at all of the Pokeballs, Master Balls, make sure you've got your presentation right. Personally, what I do for mine is a normal card with the reverse on top, then a Pokeball, then a Master Ball, and then I'll go for the next Pokemon. EXs are always at the back, and then obviously we've got the SARs, yada yada. You've got the gold card there with Iron Tail or Iron Leaves. Then we move up, so then we've got our first SAR. These weren't necessarily crazy either, I don't believe, like at 15. We're still at 32 even in March time, so that's still, you think we've half the value already. This is where I do think, like, you look at the card, it's great, don't get me wrong, some people's favourite will be Ogerpon, But realistically, no one wants Ogerpon. Let's be really brutal with it. Now, we do have the rest of them. So we've got the Master Balls for Leafeon, Espeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. We also have Glaceon and also Vaporeon there. So it does tell me that Umbreon is still in the hype of it. What are these actually coming in at prior? Yeah, I was going to say, these were mega money. Like, you think if you was to buy it, and this is why we always say 6 to 8 months at an absolute minimum. Like, if you think from January, you've got Feb, so it came out we'll go mid of the month because it came out mid-Jan. So you've got Feb, March, April, May, June. So at June, you're kind of nearly at the bottom, but even then, like, just giving it that little bit longer, an extra, say a whole year, you can kind of see now if you go in the 3-month mark or the 6-month mark, we're kind of around the same sort of value now. So definitely a month, like, we're obviously going up slightly. It's not necessarily crazy, like you're looking at $1 or $2 there. But if you do look at it in the 1 year graph, you can kind of see we've got a slight increase. So maybe that final year mark there would have been perfect. We know summer is going to be a big one, so I would definitely be looking towards then. Summer, and it seems to be the December months for some extent, is normally pretty decent for a lot of these, which is always nice to see. We do have another essay. Most of these as well were, as I say, they were upwards of 60. I think on day of release, like the first week, maybe first 2 weeks, they were easily all at 100, absolutely minimum. So it was crazy to see the kind of drop off now, where we can see like a Sandy Shocks at 23 compared to, like I say, at 78, and this is 2 months, 2 months after the release as well. So you can imagine what it truly came in at. You just knew that this was not going to be $100 to $70 card. It was most definitely probably even lower than this, and this is why I would say, looking at Prismatic, especially in 2026, where we know there might be a bit of hype, I would look in the summer months. I think June and July would be an interesting one to see where the lowest they could go, especially because new things are coming out. I'd definitely look at if there's a new Mega Evolution set that comes that is just blowing everything away. It's not going to be Perfect Order or Chaos Rising, whether it's going to be the next shiny set or something like that. That could be interesting then to potentially look at these if there is a drop or a massive sell-off to be able to afford the next set as such. But then we get into the kind of the big boys. We get into the absolute top. We've obviously got the Sylveon Master Ball. What was that coming in at? Because everybody looked at the Umbreon at $60. That is absolutely crazy. Where is this Umbreon then? So we still got it. Still got it lightly played at 54. That is nuts. And obviously it was up there, like 232. You needed to get out of it. Like quite week to week, you're losing 20-30 pounds each time. And then eventually we are settling a little bit. I still think it's quite expensive, but it's a grail of Umbreon. We kind of know it with this set. Obviously, it's not the only Umbreon that is expensive in this set. But even when we do look at like the Iron Hands, again, like this was another like £100 card at one point. It just wasn't going to be worth it. You can see these slowly dipping. Even to now, I think they should be cheaper. Like this is realistically like 15 at an absolute push. They are nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're awful by any stretch. Like I got the Terrapagos. That was at 120 on weekend of release from the couple of packs that I managed to get, and you can kind of see already from 70 all the way down. So the way I personally would do it, because we kind of know that all of them are doing the same. Roaring Moon's going to be slightly different. You got that in obviously the near mint. That's still coming in at 154, but again it follows the same sort of pattern. It was coming in at 300, dropped to 140, had a random spike at 300. I don't know why that spike was, but then it's dropped down pretty instantly as well, like quite literally from that 1 week at 250 to 3 weeks later, it's dropped down to 180, and then it's just proceeding to go down even more. So you will notice that everything else is going down slightly. I would personally go get the base set done. That's how I would do most sets. Base set is an absolute minimum. The special arts can be bought after. You then either go for the reverse hollows, depending on if you're going for a master set or not. If you want to go Pokeballs and Master Balls, I think with this sort of set, it would look really nice. And to be honest, at this point, to be able to save yourself a little bit and fill out a binder without having to spend thousands on this set, then maybe start with the Pokeball Master Balls. You could get a couple of here and there. I would look at bundles more than anything. I think that would be your best bet to get the best bang for your buck for Pokeball and Master Balls. And then potentially if you do get duplicates, you could sell them on and yada yada. You maybe make a little bit of change from it. And then I would personally look within the summer months at some of these SARs. I would always start lowest to highest when it comes to these, because I think what I'm looking at in terms of pricing here, the longer you hold, the lower it seems to be going at the moment for these. Doesn't necessarily mean they can't spike again. We saw with Roaring Moon, even for a month or two, it went nuts. So if you bought it in them months, I would be just make sure that you're willing to lose that amount as well. So like with the Umbreon, I think that would be the hardest one to personally purchase, unless it was that is the final one of the set. I'm quite okay with the value going X, Y, and Z, because you can see it is very scatterbuggy at the moment. Like if you bought it up here at 1.4 and it goes down to 800, that's what, like a 600 loss. Like that is nuts. Whereas you could have bought it at 800 and now it's at 1.4. Again, you'd then be questioning, should you sell it or not? It's a unfortunate pattern that you've probably got to go for. I personally would go on the hands of, I wouldn't necessarily buy anything crazy over like the 200, 300 mark until the hobbies died down. For me, it's not necessarily the money side of it. I like the sets. So really, I don't particularly want to be buying an Umbreon for $2,000 almost. It would be realistically, I'd wait for the hobby to almost die out a little bit, and then we can see where these prices are truly coming in at. And I'd probably do the same for most. It's not necessarily the most fantastic way of doing it, and it might not happen for a while, but I'm trying to kind of get base sets for everything first. So for me, I would definitely have a look at these evolutions and just see where their kind of points are. Umbreon's going to be a mixed bag, to be honest. I think you could buy it right now and it could triple. You could buy it right now and it halves. It's one of them that is really very difficult to pinpoint because of the rarity of it, how much it truly is coming in at, and really it's just kind of latching onto the Moonbreon really. Like I personally prefer Moonbreon way more than this, but it's just an Umbreon. That's what people like. So it's an interesting one. I think it's definitely a gettable set. I think 151 really showing its colors, just looking at that in general. Like looking at it now, I had a look yesterday, and again the values like are up at like 170. So I think if we are looking at a set, Prismatic could be an interesting one to start producing a few of the smaller ones in here. You look at the Venusaur again, we're now up at 111. It's coming in at 156. We got the Charizard at 447, up 109%. So it is nuts. But let me know down below what you think about the sets, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.